Somewhere in the dark, right now, sits a disconnected hard drive holding millions of dollars worth of unreleased Beyonce music, and no one knows where it is. It's July 2025. We are less than 48 hours away from the massive, highly guarded Cowboy Carter tour taking over Atlanta. Down in a parking garage on Krog Street, someone breaks into a 2024 Jeep Wagoneer, rented by members of Beyoncé's team. The thief cleared out the hardware, but for the tour team, the loss of MacOaks and luxury gear was secondary to what was on those hard drives: unreleased tracks, proprietary tour footage, and confidential set lists. Here is the strange part of this story. The person who committed this heist was caught. He is currently sitting in a prison cell, yet the music he stole has completely vanished. Police executed a flawless digital manhunt to solve a high-profile robbery. But because the music itself was stored on offline hardware, it remains a digital ghost, exposing a blind spot in our modern tracking networks. The man behind the break-in is Kelvin Evans, an individual known locally as the King Thief of Atlanta. And he didn't pick this specific Jeep by accident. He later admitted to investigators that he was tipped off about what was inside. When you lose millions of dollars of intellectual property, the instinct is to flood the streets. Investigators took a different route. They waited, letting the stolen technology do the detective work. Those stolen MacBooks and AirPods were still active. As they moved through the city, they connected to nearby networks, sending out silent digital pings. By plotting these individual data points, investigators built an exact digital breadcrumb trail from the Krog Street garage. Once they had a route, cross-referencing this path with the city's surveillance cameras and automated license plate readers isolated their target. Through a surveillance lens, investigators watched Evans back a red Hyundai right next to the targeted Jeep. That Hyundai had been rented by his own niece. Thieves today carry their own tracking devices out of the crime scene. The connected devices they steal actively broadcast their exact movements to law enforcement. Still, digital signals only last as long as the battery. The pings essentially stopped, and the trail went cold. Investigators finally caught up with Evans in August, arresting him for an entirely unrelated parole violation. The human element eventually superseded the digital. Evans' own niece told investigators that he had gifted her a stolen iPhone and chargers, taken directly from the luggage. Faced with a mountain of digital tracking data and a direct witness, Evans abandoned his initial claims of innocence. He pleaded guilty to entering an automobile and criminal trespass. The judge handed down a 5-year sentence, 2 years locked in a prison cell, with the remaining 3 to be served on probation. The justice system functioned exactly as designed. It used digital forensics to trace, capture, and imprison the physical thief. But that same system utterly failed to recover the digital treasure he took. The Apple devices made enough noise to get Evans caught, but those hard drives containing Beyoncé's unreleased tracks were completely offline. They cast no digital shadow for police to track. When the news of his sentencing broke, the beehive flooded the internet. Rather than mourn the missing tracks, her fans leaned completely into the chaos. Comment sections filled with jokes demanding the judge give him 4 years in honor of her classic album, or arguing he deserved extra prison time specifically for refusing to leak the songs. Beyond the jokes, fans immediately started debating what those drives actually hold. The leading theory is that they contain a rock record, meant to serve as the third and final act of her current album trilogy. What started as a standard vehicle break-in has mutated into internet lore. The missing evidence is a tightly guarded piece of modern pop history. It only took a matter of months for GPS data and surveillance networks to put a prolific thief behind bars. This logic diagram shows the glaring flaw in that system. A connected device emitting a signal gets caught in our digital net immediately, but raw offline data that never pings a cell tower or Wi-Fi network slips right through. The King Thief of Atlanta is serving his time. The physical and legal chapters of this heist are permanently closed. Yet somewhere out there, years of unreleased work and archived performances are still sitting in the shadows. The case proves that while law enforcement can track the physical movement of a thief, the information itself remains uniquely vulnerable once it's disconnected from the grid.